to listen to the whole thing. Well, happy 4th of July, America. This is my flag, and I'm waving. Here we go. A little celebratory. And let's start our show. So, here we are, third episode of podcast live on YouTube. And yeah, this is a caricature I did of myself some years ago. And it's 3:30, so we can officially start. I'm Marty Bear, and this is my YouTube review where I review new up-and-comers, and they've sent me portfolios, and let's get on with it. So here's John Vital. So this is some vital information that we're going to send your way, and this is really good. I like the colors, I like the style. So let me give you guys a moment with this. I think I went up too close. Hold on. Go back. Panel 1. Panel 2. It's like two people having a conversation. Possibly an older and a younger. Maybe a mom and a son. Hope I got that right. And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 panel page, all horizontal. Like the style, like the colors. Looks like it's late evening, possibly night. And so it looks like we're panning in from an overhead shot. And then, oh, there's actually 5 panels. This is cut between, so this is 2 panels right here. So panel 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now 5. All right, I got it. I'm hip. Okay, so first shot's pretty good. Can't really tell what's going on with the figures, but we can tell it's a residential neighborhood. A lot of cookie cutter homes, and we have a bit of dialogue, so we know that somebody's talking in a backyard. What I would do in this first panel actually is I think I would have changed the lighting a little bit in this area, because other than the word balloon, you're not really sure what's going on. So I think if the lighting was a little bit more dynamic, or the table was lit up or something, then we would be able to see just by looking at the image without the dialogue that there's somebody in this backyard that's talking. And so then the next panel, panel 2, is more of a reveal. So we're getting closer in on the 2 people. But I would do the same thing where I think I would have lit this table. What? Screwed up there. I would have made this table a little bit more dynamic with a different color. I'm just using white because I don't have, and see right here too, if maybe it was more lit, then you would kind of pay attention to it and it would stand out. So then we have this, which is a little closer, but still not a reveal. So you really can't tell who these 2 people are, or if it's a man or a woman or whatnot. So it's still good. We go from here to here. The dialogue is continuing. I think the dialogue's probably getting a little too heavy for this shot because it's still pulled back and it's still really impersonal. We don't know who these 2 people are yet. So this looks like a reveal, but it's also not a 2-shot reveal. It's because there's a panel, like we established right down the middle. So this separates the two characters, which for me, I think what I would do is I would have had a two shot here. So I would continue getting closer in on the two at the table talking. So more of a shot like panel 5, maybe here, maybe pull back a little bit more, but possibly panel 5 being panel 3, and then what's 3 and 4 here being panel 5, if that makes sense. So this would be these two panels. So 3 would be here, and then 4 would be here. And so having go from 2 to panel 5, let me get rid of that. And so I think that would work better as a transition. And then you can go from panel 5's two shot of both of them to the individual shots, because we've established them both together. And I think this starts feeling like 3 and 4 starts feeling more like they're reveals of the character individually of each other. And I think if this was up higher, it would be better because we would establish them together, and then the last two panels would be them apart in their individual thoughts or conversation or whatever is going on. So I think as far as layout, that's that's my big concern there. The other is just like I said, the lighting I think of the table would be better, or like if you lit the patio different or something that brought those two out in those shots. And so then I think I think the drawing's pretty good. I'm not sure if it's photo refed, but it looks like it might be partially photo refed, and that's a good thing. That's not bad. I like the coloring. I like the simplicity of it. I like the color schemes. Um, the face is really good. Hands good. There's a little kind of bend here, but that might be the clothing. But I think I would bring that a little tighter in. Some of the structure here is possibly, I don't know. It doesn't. It has kind of it doesn't have a really a light source. So maybe that's, if it was maybe more prioritized with the light source, it might work a little bit better. But I think somewhere in here, like this needs to be developed a little bit more. And I don't know, maybe just a painted, like a light painted shadow in here, kind of like the one that's under his chin here, but really light because this is a real subtle style. So maybe just a little in here, and I think structurally this is up really high. So I think I would either bring this one up or I'd bring this one here down just to kind of make it a little bit more structurally sound. Because I think the shoulders, I know the shoulder is probably dipping, um, but if you used a photograph, I'd go back to the photograph because there's something that's not quite working here in the shoulders. And her neck might be a little long. Because I think too, like these, if you keep going, they kind of go in this direction. And the collarbone, not these. They have a name, art. I think they kind of come in more like this. Something like this. So, yeah, I think by bringing up the collarbone, maybe you don't have to work on the neck length, but the neck still looks a little long. Maybe the head needs to come down to right about there where the chin would come down to here. Looks a little long there. So that's it for her. But I like this. I like the style. I like the coloring. I like the subtlety in it. The simplicity of the coloring. It's a nice, it's a nice change of pace. So let's see this guy here. I think he may suffer from the long neck syndrome too. So maybe if the shirt came in around here and then the collarbone. So maybe this all starts up a little higher. The shoulders. It might actually help the length in the neck here. So I think it's a little long, and I like all this. I think what I would do, sometimes these overlaps don't work. So maybe it's cut in a little too far, and that overlapping line with the cheekbone is too much. So if that wasn't there, it might work a little better. But yeah, it's real nice. So then, yeah, there's some, I think there's like structurally, oops, wrong color. Like just some structural, maybe start drawing through the figure a little bit more. Start working on structure a little bit more. And I know this arm's coming forward like this one too, but I think I'd bring some, this fold looks like it cuts into where the shoulder would be. So I think these folds here would probably not go this far back and maybe start in here more. And then this arm's coming forward too, but this line might be a little too exaggerated because she's kind of turning 3/4 too. So it looks like this part of the body's coming forward and this is away. So maybe if this line was straightened out a little bit, so it didn't cut as much in there, or if the main structure fold was right here, and then this was a secondary. I know it's a simplistic style or simpler style, but that might work a little bit better than with maybe a hint of a fold there. Um, some of these folds are a little too patterned. Um, there's two of them that look like they're almost the same shape and everything. So maybe make them kind of go in different patterns. And yeah, the palm. And I think that the wrist bone is a little too pronounced and a little too low. I think it would be a little higher. The palm's a little long. But yeah, it looks pretty darn good. And the one big thing in here, let me see if I can do it this way, is where I think the table needs to be straightened out. I, it's it doesn't fit the style, this dynamics. It's not a real, it's a real formal kind of storytelling that you have here, and then this table to be, in this direction is a little odd. So I think if it was straightened out, it would look better. And possibly, I don't. she's standing. Is she standing? Do they? It almost looks like in 3 and 4 that they're standing versus sitting. So also maybe if 3 and 4 were the last two panels, it looks like maybe they stood up. Because I think if they were sitting down, this fence would be lower. It would be in here if she was still sitting down. So it almost looks like if you did change the order of these, like I suggested earlier, like if these were the last two panels, 3 and 4 were the last two panels, then it almost looks like they're standing up. I haven't gone into the next page yet, so they might still be sitting down. But if they are still sitting down, I don't think these characters in these two panels look like they're sitting down. Maybe he does, but she doesn't. So I think maybe, like I said, if the fence was lower here, and possibly if the chair was in the panel, like, oh, I'm still on line tool. So let's get rid of that. So maybe if the chair had a high back, which I don't think it does, but where you could kind of put it in here and maybe part of it here. So you can see a chair back there. Let me find my tool. It might help. And also the table seems like it would be in here. Maybe that's it. Yeah, so maybe the table, if they were still sitting, would be in here. I think your elbow would still cross over, but you kind of get the idea. So I think by adding a chair, and like I said, move this fence down. Watch out for tangents, actually. So maybe move it down lower to where it's lower than the chair. So then we got the fence down here. So it starts looking like now it's a formal shot, like his point of view directly across the table at her. And so then you know that she's sitting, and you know it's probably like from his point of view. And then this one is definitely not from her point of view, but possibly if you had a hint of chair in here, then maybe it would show that he's sitting down. And once again, maybe bring the background down because it's still a little high from us. Like the camera looks like it's right almost eye level with these guys, or right about here actually, crossed his nose. So it seems like most of this stuff would be a little lower in the panel since they're sitting. If they were standing, I think it would be better. But since they're sitting, I think it would be lower. And so back on, so I think the only thing I have is, yeah, you got the chair here, so you know he's sitting down, which is good. This is all real good. So they're not looking at each other, so it seems like they might be distant from each other at this moment in the conversation. This is good. I'd say, it looks like you're looking at photographs, but maybe start paying attention to the proportion and the structure a little bit more, because I think a lot of that I see is just some structural stuff that you might not understand as well and might want to look at. Yeah, it's not bad. This gets the arm's a little bent like that. Maybe straighten it out a little bit more. Put the elbow in here. Yeah, but the big thing here, I think, add also, if you added the chair in here, it would be better. So what are we at? 349. So, John, that's my take on this page. So I hope that helps. And once again, remember, this is just my point of view. It doesn't have to hurt. Just kind of things to look at, think about maybe next time you pick up a pencil, or if you want to come back on this and tweak it a little bit. I think you know art is all trial and error. Try it, erase. It's a process. And sometimes when people point out isms that we do, we can't see them ourselves. And once they're pointed out, it's almost like a light bulb moment, and you're just like, whoa, yeah, I can't believe I didn't see that before. So after all these years of me drawing, I'm still having those light bulb moments where I'm like, I can't believe I do that. And and so I try to break myself of those habits. And this is a great start, John. This is really, really good. I like your sensibility a lot. I like that it's just kind of a mundane, residential area scene, but you managed to make it pretty interesting. I think the character designs look pretty good. Let me see. Is this the next page? So they stand, looks like there she's standing up here. So yeah, this is the next page. So they definitely are still sitting down here. So here's the next page. I don't know if we have time to go into this, but I would say this is a good shot. This, once again, I think we need a chair back here. And this is very, very formal. And she's still speaking. I think I would split this into just two panels instead of three. So I would maybe make this panel bigger, to where it fits more dialogue. And you can put the dialogue up here and then down here. And then have her getting up here. And I think that would work. So I guess he could either still be sitting down or getting up here, but I think he needs a shoulder. So I'll try to wrap this up fast. The fence, yeah, I think I think that's good. I was thinking it looks a little close, but it's good. I think we need a shot where she's looking more direct. I think your eye starts just going off this way, off the page. So if he was standing here, which I think he should be, like if she stood up, have him still sitting right here, so you get to see that she's standing up and he's not, or pull her over and pull the shot back and have him standing up. But if it's a two shot and then he's looking in this direction, what it does is it'll bring your eye across this way of the panel to him, and then he'll bring your eye back down into this direction. Otherwise, your eye just goes right off the page, and you never ever want that. Like this is, the first here is good. She's looking in this direction here. Then we cut across to this panel, and this one she's getting up and she's kind of looking down this way, which brings you over to this panel. This panel could quite possibly be flopped to where he's looking the other way, or maybe a straight on shot, because it's kind of working but kind of not. So it's kind of keeping your eye going in this direction. But like I said, this is it is kind of working. So maybe don't worry about that. But if it was definitely flopped, or if it was a direct, like straight on shot, or a slight 3/4, but more of a straight on shot, it would work better. And then you go over here, and like if she was moved like over here and maybe smaller, and then he was here, still sitting down or slightly getting up, then your eye goes over to him, and then he'll bring you back here. And then this panel is the same problem, where it's kind of going in this direction, brings your eye back into this direction. So I would either flop this, and if you flop this, then you're kind of already staying on his same side. And then I know she's on his left across the table. But I'm not sure it matters at this point, because they could walk towards each other, so they could change sides. So I would say flip this image to where he's facing the other panel, and definitely, finish your drawing off, because that would be unfortunate. And yeah, this is really good. Um, so yeah, so that kind of wraps up John Vital or Vitale. So this is vital information that everyone needs to know. So yeah, so there's that page, John, and then there's this page. Hope that helped. And like I said, don't take it to heart. Just have fun with it. Art should always be fun. We should never like dread it. We should never get too hung up on it, and always have fun. And like I always say, like, this is me paying it forward. This is, there were people early on that helped me, so I'm just trying to give back to the art community a little bit. So let's keep it fun, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, thanks for tuning in.